High vibes, everybody. Just out here, meditating, charging up a little bit, getting some nice solar rays in. And I wanted to get on here real quick and make a video about comparing yourself and how, and competition and like how we, interact with those different ideas and those different subjects. So let me just go ahead and get into it. So when you're thinking about comparing yourself to others, that's limiting you a little bit, because now you're starting to think, okay, well, I'm not doing this like they're doing, and they're not doing this like I'm doing, and then you start separating yourself, you start dividing, exactly what you're actually doing, instead of being focused on yourself, being focused on what you're actually doing in the moment. So there's a lot of times where when we get on our path, like when you get to a certain point, you start looking around and you're like trying to find out whether or not these things or these ideas are actually good. Where are you at on your path? Are you actually advancing on your path and on your journey? But when you're doing this, you don't need to compare yourself to the next person who's on their path, because everybody's journey is for them. Everybody has their own individual experiences, inside of this collective reality. So as you go through, you need to don't not focus on what everybody else is doing, but at the same time, don't compare yourself to what they're doing. Because whatever you're doing might help them out. What they're doing might help you out. It's gonna help rise everybody, push everybody up to where we all start turning. So don't ever feel like, oh man, I'm not doing what this person is doing, I'm not making the same type of progress, because there can be many different factors. They might be putting in more work, or they might be putting in less work, or saying they might have a different environment, they might have different opportunities, and those opportunities might be there for you as well, but maybe in a different form, because you never know how spirit is going to allow you and show you what you're doing and going along on your path. So don't ever limit yourself by being like, hey, I'm not doing as much as the next person. I'm not getting the same experience as them, because you're not getting the same experience as them, and you're not really supposed to, unless spirit does say, hey, this is what's for you at this current point in time. But a lot of times, you're having your individual experience here so that you can learn. And also then after you learn, then you'll see what other people are doing as well. You might be able to help them out, just like they might be able to help you out, that giving and receiving. So then also I wanted to talk about competition. Like when you're comparing yourself to somebody, then you start trying to get into competition with them. There's some healthy competition, and there's certain other types of competition. But really and truly, like when you start competing against somebody, it's the same thing. Compare. You're pretty much, seeing how you are against them. Seeing, oh, are they better than me? Am I better than them? Nobody's better than anybody else. We're all going through our journey, and we'll all, rise at the levels that we're supposed to rise at. So, and with the healthy competition, there might be a little healthy competition being like, hey, saying, can you push yourself? Can you drive yourself to do more? Or is this, the only aspect that you're going to be able to do? Are you going to be able to keep rising, going a little bit further? Like I've been starting to work out a little bit more, and like when you're working out, it's like, okay, can I push myself that extra little bit? Can I get that extra little bit in? To actually start to achieve more results. That type of competition, which is really, you're competing with yourself if you want to get down to it. And, when you're competing against yourself, and maybe, even comparing yourself to yourself, you're saying, hey, this is what I was doing before, this is what I need to do, this is what I'm doing now. You'll start getting all the different information as to how you're actually, inputting all this info and how you're actually going along on your path. So don't ever feel like, hey, I'm not doing as much as somebody else, or maybe, saying I'm not doing what I was doing before. Don't get down on yourself. Don't beat yourself up over that, because there's no reason to. You're going to keep going along exactly how you should be. It's just about raising up that awareness and transforming that your perspective and how you view the world, so that you can eventually start to see everything that is around you in that exact moment. It's so funny because last night I was watching Peaceful Warrior, and if you haven't seen that movie, I really do recommend you go see that, because a lot of deep codes, a lot of deep information, if you're able to see it, even on the surface level, they put a lot of information into the movie. So check it out. It's cut off there for a second. I guess I didn't have enough space on my memory card, but getting back into it with Peaceful Warrior, he talks a lot about going within, and you see that competition even in that movie, so go check it out. You might be able to gain some more understanding of the situation. But when it really comes down to it, you have that competition and that comparison with yourself that's always going on. Be aware of it, but don't strive to change how you compete, how you compare, because once you do that, you start limiting yourself, and we all know that the limitations, they hinder us, they stop us. They stop us from actually achieving what we want to achieve, what we're going to achieve, and what we need to achieve. So don't let these different limiting mindsets and these limiting aspects actually stop you from rising up and going along on your journey, because everybody has their contributions to what's going on, no matter how big and small. Whether it's a bird, it's a dragonfly, it's the ants, it's the bees, it's nature, it's humans, it's it's whatever. Everything contributes to what's going on, in their own individual and unique way. So, by you trying to compare yourself, how can two unique things actually compare themselves? There are similarities. There's an underlying, similarity there, but that's for you to go within and to discover. But as far as everything else, you don't need to compare yourself to what's going on, to what that person is doing, what this person is doing, or maybe you haven't been putting in the same amount of work as them, or you are not seeing the same type of things, and you're not actually getting what they're saying. Don't let that get down on yourself. Don't ever let that go to stop you, because that's when your ego will start to lash out. And once your ego starts lashing out with you comparing each other, that's how you start getting pulled into those lower vibrations and start getting into that negative mode. And then even from there, because at a certain point you'll have a certain amount of awareness to where when you see that start happening, you'll see the world around you start changing. Like, you might have been more positive and more energetic, and then you see your energy level start dropping, and then you start seeing like things that before you were like, oh yeah, that's a positive thing. Now you're like, oh, I'm upset about this, I'm angry about that, and then you end up limiting yourself even further, and then it's just that downward spiral, and you keep going and going. So I'm always going to encourage you to keep rising, keep climbing, climbing that mountain. I used to do a lot of hiking, and from that I got a lot of deeper information, on my own inner search. So as you keep climbing and rising, don't ever think that as you're going, that just because something stops you and you got to like fall back a little bit. No, don't let that stop you. Don't keep falling back, because the more that you fall back, the more that that downward momentum starts flowing. We want to have that upward momentum. We want to keep turning up and keep raising up. But as I said, that the wind started picking up. But yeah, you want to keep turning up, keep raising up. Because no matter how hard the climb is, you get to see all kinds of things on this climb. You get to learn stuff about yourself, about your physical body, your mental body, like how much persistence, how much resilience you have. And there's even deeper level. You get to know about your spiritual self as well, because when you're out there in nature and you're climbing and you get to where you're going, you have a different understanding of things. The view from there, it could be a beautiful view, it could be just an everyday average view, but you can't let that be like, okay, this is it, because once you get there, there's always more to see, because it's not really about the destination, all the time. It's about that journey. It's about, you know, actually seeing what you have going on along your path. So don't ever limit their mindset like that, you know, because your ego is going to want to be like, hey, look at what they're doing. You see that? Because they're trying to distract you. They're trying to stop you. They don't want you to keep raising up. You know, your ego will stop you and try to hinder you. But instead of letting it stop you, let it hinder you. You see that? Be like, hey, you see what that person's doing? Oh, they might be turning up more than you. Oh, man, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? That you should just go ahead and stop and all that. No, use that as, yeah, I see that. You know, you're trying to stop me from continuing on that path. So, you know, why would you even buy into that? So, because then you start getting that kind of spiral. You want to keep turning up. You want to keep rising up. So, you know, you don't let that stop you. You don't let that limit. You become that limitless being. And, you know, once you like start, you know, breaking down the different walls and barriers and those different limitations, you know, you'll begin to see, you know, different things about what's going on around you and actually become in that moment. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Just going back over everything. You know, don't compare yourself to others. There's no need to. You are who you are. You're exactly who you're supposed to be. So let that keep going, and just know that. You know, meditate on that. Think about it. You know, whatever your mindfulness practice is. You know, some people like to just sit by the lake. Some people, you know, will sit in the house. You know, but whatever you do to like become present in the moment, think about where you are, what you're trying to do. Don't look at the outside, because when you're looking all at the outside all the time, I'm not gonna say don't always look at the outside, because when you're looking at the outside all the time, you know, that changes up exactly how everything's gonna go for you. It's gonna change up how you view it, because you're seeing it from an outside perspective instead of that inner perspective. You know, what do you feel about it? What do you think about it? You know, you gotta, you know, start asking the right questions, because if you don't ask the right questions, you're never gonna be able to. Well, I can't even say never, because, you know, spirit works in all kinds of, you know, interesting ways. But you will. It'll be harder, you know, for you to, you know, keep continuing on your path. You know, so if you're gonna have a competition, have healthy competition with yourself. Things that's gonna help keep rising you up, keep driving you forward. Don't ever let the competition, you know, stop you from actually rising and getting higher and going along on your path. Because as we go along on our journey, you know, we all see, you know, different aspects of ourselves that help us grow. And as you do this, you might want to, you know, do a little quick competition with yourself, you know, because a lot of times it's, you know, a competition with your ego. Your ego is good, you know, is competing for control. But that's as far as I'm gonna go with that. You know, you can do your own inner search on that. So, you know, you might want to have that little, you know, healthy competition to be like, okay, you know, these desires, these temptations, you know, I've done a video on temptations before, you know, check it out if you want to get a little bit more. I keep getting cut off on my videos, but I was saying I did a video on temptation as well, you know, so you can check that out if you want to get a little more, you know, information and understanding and knowledge on that, at least from my perspective. You know, you're going to have your own perspective on it, but like these different temptations that you have going on, like can I, you know, stop myself from giving into that temptation, or can I rise above it? Take control of me, or stop me, or hinder me, instead of using that to be like, okay, yeah, no, saying once I do this, you might, that might be, you know, a little small, you know, doorway that you go through before you actually start to see the results. Because a lot of times, right when we start to get to the point where we're going to see the results, that's when things start to stop us. When you think everything's going good, everything is about to go your way, no, something is going to come along and be like, hey, are you really determined? Are you really going to put in that work? Or is this really what you're about to do? So don't forget to always be striving for higher and better, you know, and having that healthy competition, you know, with your ego, with yourself. You know, don't compare yourself to others. You can't compare yourself to yourself. You know, and, you know, once you start getting more understanding on that, you can take it even deeper. And if you do, you know, you can always hit me up on here in the comment section, or hit me up on my Instagram, and then you know, we can talk about this, because that's what we're here for. That's what well, that's what I like to do is I'm going to help you. I want you to continue to rise. If you have a question, ask me. You know, we can get into a little bit deeper of things depending on what level you're on. Because that'll help push you and strive you for moving forward. So I feel like that's about all I really want to talk about today. If you really want some more higher informational knowledge and like different perspectives, you can check out all the connects in the community, their videos, like Brandon, Jessica, Brett, Astro, the Astro Solstice channel gives a lot of good, basic information if you want to start out. And then the Reprogram the Matrix channel, that gives a lot more higher informational knowledge if you want to, take it that step further. Then if you want to take it another step, go ahead and check out the community, reprogramthematrix.com, and you can get a lot more higher informational knowledge there. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. Peace in and out, my full love and my gratitude.